Hi guys, I'm back to another video, and today I'm just doing a market outlook for the coming week. Starting off with the S&P 500, at the moment I'm sort of neutral to bearish on the S&P 500 still. If you go to the daily time frame, we can see on the start of the week last week, Trump was giving comments that he may pull out the war. So we had sort of this investor sentiment looking to the upside here. But what actually ended up happening with this Wix is, you can see on the daily here that he didn't want to pull out the time frame, and he said we'll stop at nothing to get what we want. So then we sort of had some bears step into the market towards the end of the week there on Friday, and we also still got job claims coming out pretty high, unemployment job claims coming out. So the S&P really isn't in a great state. We got we're 29 times earnings at the moment, the value of the S&P. So sorry, earnings are 29 times the S&P, which is pretty over inflated. So it's never really a great time to be looking for sort of buying the dip opportunities in the S&P, especially with the current climate of the geopolitics. But if we see this week with Trump saying and carrying out some war ending news, then we could start to see investors change their sentiment and look to get back into the S&P and rotate out of the dollar, and we may see some dollar weakness. If we do go to the dollar, which is the next thing, we see we're at a very key level of resistance on the daily time frame. We look like we may cross here the 50 and the 200, which will tell me that we have gotten bullish market structure to the upside here, and we can play these USD longs as inflation is still quite high, and we'd ideally want to see inflation come down before we get back into the rate cutting cycle, which we're not currently at. We're actually currently in a higher for longer sort of state, which is normally quite bullish for the DXY, hence the bullish pressure ever since the end of February with the war, when inflation did start to increase with oil prices. So looking at oil then, we can see here that we are very elevated, and we look like the 130 level is in reach if, and this is if, the geopolitics remain the same, and which is looking pretty likely, because we know Iran probably won't sign a deal, although I'm not really that hugely into news, into politics, so I don't really know, but I just follow what's in front of me, and but a lot of speculation is saying Iran won't sign any deals, and will keep the Strait of Hormuz shut. If that happens, then I do expect $130 of oil, and that's sort of the target here, just because that's the last current high, which we got to go off. So that's sort of my opinion on oil. I do think we're going to be remaining bullish until things change geopolitically. If we go into things like gold here, I did my analysis of gold. Looks like it's playing out pretty like I thought. I sort of said this sort of look out for this 1,700 level was an area of resistance, like we're bouncing off the 50 EMA as well, which is what I also said. I can link the video in the card somewhere, or if you just go onto my channel, you can see my analysis on gold. And what I basically said was that we may have a bounce off here, 4,300, 4,400 level, because this is obviously a very strong level in the market. We've also bouncing off the 200-day moving average on the daily time frame, and we also, when we broke out of the 4,600 level, which was acting as sort of this 4-hour double high here before breaking out, and we may see sort of this manipulation now of breakout traders looking to go to the upside, and we may now either see some downside before some distribution, we had this accumulation, some manipulation, and some distribution to the downside, or we're seeing this breakout and a retest here to the upside. We've just got to see what happens in the next few days. I'm not currently long or short in gold, but like I say, what I rather would have seen for a long position was some manipulation to the downside, getting people interested in really shorting this thing, to think that it go higher. Obviously finding support here in the market, and then looking for some upside potential around the 4,100 level, but that never happened. Didn't really expect it to happen either, but that was what I wanted to see for a long signal for myself. But what we have here is a break and retest of the highs. Whether or not I take it, I think I've already missed this opportunity, but this was sort of the buy entry here when we had the Fibonacci retracement zone. If we take it to the low to the high, we can see bouncing off the 0.5 level, bouncing off the 50 EMA, all the good stuff that you like to see when catching a pullback in the market. And now we may see break up to the highs here, which I think is probably the most likely. And we'll see that 4,800 level hit again. And once we start closing above this 200-day moving average here, then we're really looking for some bullish price action. And then I'm just going to be looking to ride this trend upwards. And of course, this is quite a good hedge as well, gold against, you know, if you think maybe the war may be coming to an end and you think we may have some dollar weakness in the future, then gold's a good bet. Obviously, I'm going to be long-term gold bullishness, and I do think we're going to see a rate cut at the end of the year, possibly. But you know, we got to see what happens. But currently, rate cuts are not looking likely. It looks like we're going to keep stay the same with unchanged Fed meeting in the next one here, which will basically stay higher for longer because of the rise in inflation. You know, we aren't at that target rate of 2% yet, and we're currently at 3.63%, which is above what Mr. Trump wants. He wants a weaker dollar, as we know, for his exports. So yes. So yeah, we got the Europeans central bank wanting to hike rates, 42% chance. Bank of England has to come down before. As you can see, they're coming down at the moment, and with only an 18% chance of a hike. I don't think that we'll probably see hikes in the Bank of England, but will be interesting. USD JPY looking quite dangerous for this level of intervention. We're near this 1,160 level, the level I've been talking about for the last few months, and I do not believe there'll be an intervention until the war ends. So I do expect some more elevation here on USD JPY. We may see some sort of consolidation around here, and then we will see that probably intervention, you know, in this sort of level I have drawn out here. And this is where the last intervention was on the UJ. So we'll be interested to see what happens. But we may see 162 plus, 162, 163 hit, which is fine. You know, I'm not looking to get into the market until things are looking more likely. But at the moment, I don't see an intervention happening anytime soon until the war ends, because Japan's economy is really struggling with importing 97% of their oil from Strait of Hormuz, from the Arab areas. So yes. But moving on to some setups that I have, the ones that I'm really looking for is USD, NZD, USD. Some shorts here. We had a really nice short opportunity here. I managed to get in this one over here though. I missed this one myself, but now we've broken out to the downside. We've got some strong market structure in our favour. We can wait for this sort of break and retest pattern, which we look for every single time, to the downside, and then I'll be shooting for sort of these lows before I probably expect some sort of movement to the upside here, as this is quite a strong level, as you can see before. So this is sort of my target area for NZD USD, at sort of the 0.55600 level. But yeah, the other setups I have is AD NZD as well. This has been a really nice trade. Well done for those people who managed to get in it. Looks like we're going to hit TP here. But yeah, other than that, I'm not really looking at too many forex pairs. We have possible, you know, Euro USD action here. We're in a consolidating market, but once we see some sort of a breakout to the upside or sort of a breakout to the downside, that's the only things I'll be looking for. I don't really like trading ranges. I don't really have too much edge in it either. So yeah, and then of course the other big one is GU to be looking at. GU we have, you know, this nice level here. If we can break out to the downside, like I say, and then give a nice retest, then that would be beautiful. But we'll just have to see what happens in the coming months. And we've also got Chef, Pound Chef. Are we looking for sort of breakouts to the upside here? Don't really want to short this at the moment, because the pound's looking decently strong. As you can see, we're raising up against the Swiss franc, and the Swiss franc is possible areas of intervention if it gets too strong. So I don't think they want to have a strong Swiss franc at the moment. So at the moment it looks like we're going to see further upside potential on Pound Chef. But that's all for the video. If you guys have enjoyed it, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. But thank you.